Hi, I'm Mike with Mike'sTravelGuide.com and welcome to our video blog. In our last episode, we showed you what sights to see in this area of Amsterdam with the iAmsterdam City Card. In this episode, we'll show you what sights to see in this area of Amsterdam with the iAmsterdam City Card. Now, you're not going to be able to see 100% of the sites we have listed in this video. You're going to have to pick and choose which sites suit you the best. Another note, the order in which we have the sites listed in this video is the order in which we recommend you visit these sites. This is 1, to maximize the amount of museums you can visit in one day, and 2, minimize the amount of time you spend walking. Even though we have our sites arranged to minimize walking, you're not going to be able to walk to all the sites on this day's itinerary. You're going to have to use public transportation at some point in time. So for example, if you're at the Heineken Experience, you're going to have to take public transportation if you want to see the iBrewery. And in fact, anytime you visit the iBrewery, you're going to have to take public transportation. And it's going to be too hard for us to tell you which trams or buses to take from all these different sites. So what we recommend you do is visit 9292.nl and you can plan your route. The Heineken Experience, housed in the former brewery located in the Pipe neighborhood, is an interesting alternative for individuals that are not into art or history museums. The tour brings you through the brewery. You walk by the stables where they keep the horses for the beer wagons, and they do a really good job of explaining the brewing process. You get to see several interactive exhibits along the way, and of course you end up in the tasting room where you can taste the beer. Now if you answer the questions properly, you can actually get more beer. And as the tour ends, you also get 2 additional beers. Now the tour is quite expensive. It's 18 euros a piece to get in without the iAmsterdam City Card. If you buy your tickets online in advance, you can save 2 euros and purchase your tickets for 16 euros a piece. And with the iAmsterdam City Card, you can get in for 13.50 a piece. Now, my opinion is kind of mixed on this museum. If you're really into art museums or history museums, you might find this museum kind of a rip-off because the other museums are much better than this museum. But if you're not into art and history, you might find this museum quite interesting because it is something to see in Amsterdam. So again, I'm kind of mixed on recommending this museum. If you're hungry after visiting the Heineken Experience, there's a great place that's only 5 minutes away. It's called The Butcher. It's a burger joint and they make fantastic burgers. I'd highly recommend this place. Only issue is there is limited seating, so be wary of that. But again, great burgers. Museum van Loon is a grachtenhuis or a canal house, and it's one of 2 canal houses on this day's itinerary. You'll get to tour the lower level, which is where you'll see the kitchen. You'll get to tour the ground level where you'll find the salons and the dining room, and you'll get to tour the upper level where you'll see the bedrooms. There's also a really nice garden and a carriage house behind the garden. It's normally 8 euros to get in, and there's a supplement at times if there's a special exhibit in the carriage house. It's free with the iAmsterdam card. I recommend that you see it with the iAmsterdam card, and whether or not you choose to see it if you have to pay for it is up to you. Rembrandtplein is a square with a large statue of Rembrandt. And what's really interesting is they actually took all the individuals that were painted in the Night Watch and they made statues of these individuals and put them in front of the Rembrandt statue. So when visiting, you can actually become part of the Night Watch painting itself. The Museum Willet Holthausen is the second canal or grachtenhuis that we have on today's itinerary. And it's a great museum. In fact, I like it a little bit better than Museum van Loon. There's more rooms to see, and I think you get a little bit more for your money. It's 8 euros to get in, and it's free with the iAmsterdam card. If you have the iAmsterdam card, I'd recommend seeing both if you have the time. If you don't and you have to pay to get in, I'd recommend seeing this one over Museum van Lam. The Rembrandt House is a museum located in the former residence of Rembrandt. And what's interesting about this is Rembrandt actually went bankrupt, and the bankruptcy court at that time took possession of all of his belongings. And they itemized and categorized all of these items, and the museum used this inventory list to recreate the actual residence. You get to tour the entire residence. That means you get to go in and see where people purchasing art would enter the residence. You get to see the living area of where Rembrandt lived, and you also get to tour his studios. So it's a really, really fantastic museum. I highly recommend visiting this museum. Now, it's a little bit pricey. It's $12.50 to get in without the Amsterdam card, but it's free with the Amsterdam card. Either way, I really recommend this museum. I think it's a fantastic place to visit. The Hidden Church in the Attic is a very interesting museum. When the Protestants took over Amsterdam, they converted all of the Catholic churches into Protestant churches. They also kicked out most of the Catholics in the city. Now, there were a few Catholics that stayed behind, and they were able to practice Catholicism in secret. The proprietor of this property lived in the lower level and converted the upper level of his canal house into a church. Your tour includes both the residence and the church. It's €8 to get in without the Amsterdam card, and it's free with the Amsterdam card. Either way, I highly recommend you visit this museum. Once you've finished your tour of the secret church in the attic, there's a restaurant nearby. It's called Thai Bird, and as the name suggests, it's a Thai restaurant. And they do a fairly decent job with their menu, and the prices are fairly reasonable. The Cuypstraat Museum, or the National Maritime Museum, is a fantastic museum. We originally went thinking we'd only spend 2 hours in the museum, and we ended up spending the whole day in the museum. This is a fantastic place to go. One of the things that's really interesting is they have a full-scale replica of a VOC ship. This is the ship that the VOC used in the 1600s to transport goods across the world. And they did a really good job of recreating this ship. Another thing is they have a lot of interactive exhibits. They have exhibits for kids, they have some exhibits for adults. It's a fantastic place to go. Now the price is a little steep, it's €15 to get in. It's free with the Amsterdam card. Either way, I highly recommend visiting the Cuypstraat Museum. It's one of the best museums in Amsterdam. Cafe Orloff is a restaurant selling open-faced Dutch-style sandwiches. They have a herring sandwich that I really enjoyed. They're fairly reasonably priced, and they're right across the street from the Cuypstraat Museum. Cafe Kadijk is an Indonesian restaurant that sells smaller size portion meals. They're right across the street from the Cuypstraat Museum, and the cool thing about Cafe Kadijk is they sell beer from the Brewery. I like this place, it's a good place to visit. At €4.50, the Brewery tour is a much cheaper alternative to the Heineken experience. Now, it's a very simple tour. Basically, your tour guide gives you the history of the Brewery and walks you through the brewery. Now, the price does include one beer, which you can enjoy outside in their beer garden if the weather's nice, or inside in the bar if the weather's not so nice. One interesting note, just behind the brewery is the windmill. You don't get to tour inside, but you get to see it from the exterior. There's only one English tour per day, and that's at 3:30. So you'll have to arrive there about an hour early if you want to purchase your tickets. Thanks for watching our video. And remember, if you have questions or want more information, you can always visit us at www.mikestravelguide.com. And remember to subscribe and like us on YouTube.